Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whenever the fuck you're watching this episode. Another episode of the Blitz. The boys are here. Listen, the fucking boys are here, okay? All right, and I'm not just talking about me and Gary. Hold up. They're here.
They're here.
Um, and we'll get to it later. Sorry. Cart before the horse.
I'm mentally preparing myself for the
I
victory
mean,
lap.
listen, it's not gonna be disrespectful your way. It will be blatant ignorance tonight on behalf of a Cowboys fan who's fucking pumped. All right, that's it. You
You
know,
should
it's
be.
for,
You
it's
should
coming
be.
from a good place. I come in peace, but I come to flex.
As you should. Your boys
Anyways,
earned it.
it was a good weekend, yeah, an interesting weekend
Yeah.
and some
Very.
football that's happened. So let's dive right into the show. Gary, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Exciting football this past weekend. Some epic comebacks. Some uh, kind of eggs being laid. Some teams flexing a little bit. Some teams bouncing back from poor performances. So excellent weekend. Really exciting, and we've got some really good matchups for divisional weekend too that came out of it.
Definitely. Definitely. Um, we've got a shocker in here that I'm interested in talking about. Um, one I'm not so surprised on, and then we'll get to the saving the best for last year, right? So I mean,
It
come
just
on,
so happens to be the last game of Wild Card Weekend too.
America's team is in the fucking we're in the postseason. Okay, we're here, and we're here to stay for at least one more week.
At
All right,
least.
I'm good with it. I am good with it. All right, McCarthy. I guess you don't have to get fired this year. He'll save his job.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's unfortunate. Anyway, so without any further ado, all right, we'll go in order here. Chargers, Jaguars, and this is kind of one of the immediate surprises, right? So,
Yeah.
ah, you know, Duval at home is a special place. Our Jacksonville Jaguars hanging out with the Duval gang. I mean,
Yes, sir.
it's legitimate, it's electric, and the Chargers, man, you know,
This was a disaster,
Staley,
and
what's the deal here?
I can't believe that we've made it to Wednesday and Staley still has a job. And I know he fired Joe Lombardi and like that's supposed to fix things on offense, but you didn't lose this game because of your offense and your offensive coordinator. You lost this game because you were up 27 to nothing. You ran the ball zero fucking times I think they ran the ball like four times in the second half. And that's on the head coach to go to the offensive coordinator and say, listen, we've got a 27-point lead. And if my math works properly, which it would have, like, we could have just run the ball every single fucking play of the second half and won that game.
Yeah,
Because the Jaguars won it on a walk-off field goal, and they would have run out of possessions, essentially, if you had just run the ball. Basically, just run the ball every play. You're going to run the clock out on them. And that's on the head coach. And this is
there's no
something
reason
we've
to not.
seen.
There's
Yeah,
no reason to do anything else.
this is something we've seen from Brandon Staley, right? It was the timeout, the weird timeout last year against the Raiders. It's playing Mike Williams in a meaningless Week 18 game, so you don't have him for this game. It's mismanagement of the clock all the time. It's weird scenario or weird situational football, going for it on fourth downs when you really like even the analytics don't tell you to go for it in those situations. He just does, and I don't know how we've gotten to Wednesday and he still has a job. Uh, I thought for sure they were going to punch his ticket out of town and go get themselves Sean Payton. They're probably the team that makes the most sense to get Sean Payton, but it looks like they're out of the running now. They've got a ready-made roster. Give up a first-round pick and get yourself Sean Payton, but they're going to stick with Brandon Staley. It looks like for at least one more year, and I can't say as I understand it.
I mean, do we think that the door's closed there? There's still a whole off season.
Usually, when you make moves like this, you make them quick so that you can make your move quick and you don't miss out on your guy. Uh, I do know the
mean,
Chargers are fucking cheapskates though. So
what if they just don't have another guy yet? So they're just, I mean, they have no reason
maybe
to
Peyton's not their guy.
the standard operating procedure. They can, they're playing the
Maybe,
wild card, right? So
maybe, maybe. It could be that they just they're not prepared to make the move yet because they don't know who that guy's going to be. But it's not. I mean, it's not Brandon Staley. I can tell you that right now.
yeah.
That's a far too talented roster to go
I'm
out
just
like
saying,
this.
I'm going to be very surprised if they're not already searching, right? Like if they haven't already
Maybe.
had some unofficial conversations, like there's got to be something happening. The wheels are spinning. It's just not spinning fast enough.
That's
Right?
very
It's
possible.
got to
Maybe
be.
we'll see it, but I think they're going to be like
Maybe I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt.
last to the water fountain, and they're not going to get anything.
That's what it
if you
seems
wait
like.
too long.
Yeah.
If you wait too long to make that move. So I don't know.
And
Weird.
you got to fork up the dough. Period. That's
For
what it
sure.
comes down to. There's plenty of talent out there. You got to be willing to pay for it. And
Yep.
I think as an organization, you owe it to your investment, which is your team. If you're looking at it for money, then Justin Herbert is a man to build around, and you need to get him all the support you can get.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a unicorn on a rookie contract at quarterback.
Yeah.
And you're going to waste it with a coach that can't seem to put it together at the right time. It doesn't make any sense to me. This should be a Super Bowl contending roster. It's not.
Yeah.
They've got a good offensive line, an incredible defense in terms of assembled talent on defense. They've got good talent on the outside on the offense, and they've got Austin Eckler, who scored fucking 12 touchdowns in the second half of the season.
Yeah.
You should be a Super Bowl contender with Justin Herbert at quarterback.
Well, you've got postseason competitive rosters at minimum, and
Right.
when they're playing at their best, and which tells me that the errors fall on the coaching.
Yeah.
Because it's not that they're incapable. They're not glimpses either. They're too consistent.
Right.
If they follow a specified plan, they do well. But there's bad chemistry in there, man. And it can't be amongst the players because they play too good.
Yeah. It's fine. This is on the head coach. But I mean, on the other side, you got the opposite with Dougie P. He's got the Jags playing and believing. Dude. Trevor Lawrence throws 4 picks in the first half. And everybody's talking about is he gonna tie or break Nathan Peterman's
the absolute slaughter that happened.
It was crazy, man.
On Trevor Lawrence in the first half,
it was
dude.
Wild.
But listen, we are equally as guilty as Cowboys fans. I'm talking to a lot of you that will watch this, the tens of you that may watch this video that are Cowboys fans. We owe the same sentiment to Brett Maher. Okay, listen, quit playing on the man. Yeah. He's getting the support from the team. He had the jitters. It didn't work out in his favor. It was listen, we've taken worse from Dak. You understand me? So I'm tired of it.
Embrace I'm tired of it. Somebody hug that, man.
Kickers are not that available. Also.
Somebody
so
hug
let's chill out.
Man. Kickers that have made 60-yard field goals aren't that fucking available either. Yeah. But dude, it's crazy, man. And I posted it on Facebook.
David, exactly.
I'll say it again, but
exactly, David.
Dude, Lawrence went from Peterman to the penthouse, and it was night and day. Keep it alive, keep fighting, keep battling. That's why you do it, because Brandon Staley's going to give you a chance. I'm in a group chat with a few other friends, and we're all joking at halftime that like Brandon Staley could fuck this up.
Oh yeah,
not being serious, and then he fucking did. Like I told a guy to take Jags money line at the half. That's how Brandon Staley it felt. I said, take the Jags money line, because this is Brandon Staley, what he's going to do. And guess what? They fucking did. I should have bet at money line. It was probably plus 15,000.
So listen, this is a good time to advertise Gary's new booking company that he just started.
Right?
A shameless plug. No, that would be
ridiculous.
How opportune.
Dude. It's ridiculous, though. And you got to give it to the Jags, though. They just kept plugging away. Lawrence.
Okay, if you joked about it with your friends, did any of them take the Jags?
No, they took plus points, so it was like 15.5 at half. And I made the joke, like, dude, the most Brandon Staley thing would be to bet the Jags money line because they might win this game. They fucking ended up with it. Was crazy. It was crazy. I couldn't imagine what the odds were. The guy who bet the guy who took the points said like he didn't have a line for Jags money line, so I don't know what that line was at half, but is that all it was, Dave? 1,500? It should have been higher than that. 20 points. Either way, though, you're getting fucking 15-1 on your money. That would have been a sick hit. But nah, I mean, on a more serious note with the game, dude, T-Law just keeping in the most Trevor Lawrence celebration after going to fucking Waffle House, dude. That's awesome.
Listen,
I love
Dragon
what they
Brain.
got going on down in Duval. That's a young, good core, bounce back from the Urban Meyer fucking debacle, and they're going to the divisional round, man. And they're not scared of anybody either. So the Chiefs, I don't know that I'm going to call the Jags beating them, but the Chiefs better be prepared. The Jags ain't going to just lay down because they're down 20-7 at half or 27-7 at half, and they come back and beat the Chargers, and they looked as bad as any team probably could have looked with about 3 minutes left in that first half. I think that touchdown at the end of the half probably gave them some momentum, but they're not going to lay down. So Chiefs Nation or Chiefs Kingdom, whatever they call themselves, don't think this is going to be a cakewalk.
There's no way it's a cakewalk.
No.
And listen, Kansas City's been chugging along, right?
Oh yeah, sure.
But there's always an upset factor with the Jags this year. Always.
Yeah. I don't want to
Every
spoil
time.
it, but the Jags have something going for them that I think could give the Chiefs problems. So just to kind of tease what we're going to talk about here in a few minutes with previewing the divisional round, but the Jags have something that the Chiefs don't deal well with.
Can't wait to get into that. All right, so we reading like a book or just down the line?
But like a book. I set it up like a book. By the times of the games, I set it up like a book.
Cool. All right, so Dolphins, Bills. Bills take home the win there. And
I still screwed this up. God damn it.
it's okay. Well,
it's not like a book, but just read it like a book.
we can just
Sunday.
Dude, we're good. We can go in order. We'll get to that later. I promise. We'll go in order. All right, because I had it listed by the time.
I flip flop these two games: Bills, Dolphins, and Seahawks, Niners. I flip flop them. The rest are good.
Okay.
I'm an idiot.
Yeah, you're right. No, I was saying that you're right that you swapped them. I get what you're saying. My bad. Yeah. You're not an idiot.
I am an idiot.
That's fine. Your words. So we can get into the Dolphins Bills unless you'd rather go in order. But
we might as well jump into Dolphins Bills. It's there on the screen. I screwed it up, so that's my fault. But what a game this was, man. This was, if you're ever going to point to a game to say what the Josh Allen roller coaster can be, honestly, like that's what this season has kind of been at times with him. And this game was kind of case in point. They scream out to a 17-point lead, and then it's like just they check out mentally. It's these mistakes, and then the fumble 6, and the defense is being put kind of behind the 8 ball like crazy, and they got this third string quarterback for Miami who makes a play here and there, and suddenly the Dolphins have a lead in the fucking second half, and I'm like, what is going, like, are they going to be able to flip the switch? And again, in the group chat, I was like, I just don't know what Buffalo can do right now to flip this switch, because they were fully checked out. And then they just found it. Allen hit Gabe on a big play. And look, if anybody ever could use the moniker big game, it's Gabe Davis, because all he does is make fucking big plays in the playoffs. Dude has the most drops on the team in the regular season, and he's the stud in the playoffs. But what a roller coaster this fucking game was. And the Dolphins, like, legitimately late in the game, if things kind of bounced their way, they might have fucking pulled the upset here with their third string quarterback. I was legitimately concerned watching it with, talking with my dad during the game and stuff. They got to clean it up and clean it up quick. And we've been saying that for what, a month and a half, 2 months now with the Bills. They're not going to beat the Bengals that way.
There's no doubt about that. I mean, look, that's fair. That's fair. But like, I just was not worried about this.
That's like, also fair. Like
the second quarter, we're talking about a singular quarter where this amount of points is scored. Like, and then, second quarter did get rough, but I mean, it was closer than it should have been. I'm not denying that.
Yeah.
It does speak some volumes about the defense that I'm concerned about.
And Dave's in there commenting, and he said it right. Divisional games can be weird.
Yeah.
So there's that factor as well. You're playing a divisional game, especially in the playoffs. They can just be weird.
Yeah, and it wasn't some like super outstanding performance from Miami. I mean, the second quarter was fantastic for them. They got within range. They scored points. They were productive. Possessions. But
it was so much more about Buffalo and the mistakes they were making, though. Like you're
yeah,
right,
exactly.
Right? It's not like Miami was world beating in that second quarter and in the beginning of the third quarter. Even
no, there was just fucking misfires.
Right.
The entire
Buffalo just kept stubbing their toe and
yeah.
And that's why I say they've got to clean it up. They're not.
I don't understand offenses enough to really be able to diagnose anything. I can just tell that they're clearly not communicating right, whether it's route running being wrong or whatever. I just am not understanding enough of routes and the way offensive structure exists to really be able to say if it's like a quarterback problem or if we feel like it's, wide receiving core not running their routes correctly or there's no,
I honestly, my honest assessment of kind of what the struggles have been for the Bills over the last 2 months, where they've been this kind of roller coaster, wishy-washy, it does fall on Josh's shoulders. Honestly, right. Offensively, it's. I don't think it's like, obviously he's not a bad quarterback, right? But
sure,
I don't think it's play calling. I don't think it's putting him in bad situations. I think that he's gotten into this mentality of like, I'm just going to make it work because he normally does during 2022 the 2021 season and in the 2022 playoffs. Like that was just kind of their formula, right? It was Josh is going to make a play here. He's going to run somebody over there. He's going to jump over somebody here. He's going to throw an 80-yard fucking rope here. But it hasn't really materialized like that this year, especially in the second half. First half, I think he was kind of Superman as we expected him to be. But I think he's just been mistake prone over the last couple of months, and it puts the defense in bad situations. And that's a really, really good defense, right? If it wasn't for the 49ers, the Bills defense, honestly, stats aside, might be the best defense in the NFL. And they're just getting put in these bad spots because of these turnovers, because of defensive touchdowns for the other team. Like you're giving up points that when your defense isn't even on the field. And it really, for me, and that's why I do think they can clean it up, but it's going to take, Josh has got to start just understanding that he's too good to put himself in situations where he's making these mistakes. Take the, not even the easy play, just take the like superhuman play, not the alien play.
Yeah.
You don't have to hit a home run on every single play.
Yeah. Catch a dude at the seam for fucking 7 and call it to get the first down. That's
Convert
it.
The first down, right? You don't have to score a touchdown on 3rd and 4.
Yeah. You're not trying to like drag brain on a corner off of when it's 3rd and 3. You know what I mean? Chill out.
And those plays might just materialize, but he's forcing it. Like the throw to John Brown is one for me. Like I know a lot of people have kind of said like, John Brown kind of gave up on the route, but he missed him bad too, right? The best thing John Brown could have done in that situation was possibly knock the ball away from the corner.
Well, and it's not that the options aren't there when the routes are when the plays are happening. It's not like they're not there. There's a lot of times when you see the slant, when you see the quick Y option from the tight end, there's certainly opportunities there where you can see that they're open. And and he's just like, I got Diggs. Fucking back left shoulder, baby. We got him. Like, dude, you're on your own 30. Chill the fuck out.
Yeah. I mean, that's my big takeaway from this game. It's just Buffalo kept Miami in the game. And Miami, for all of the, hey, it's Buffalo's fault that this was closed, Miami took advantage of the situations that were presented to them.
Right.
You had a 3rd-string quarterback in the game, and you had to do that. And that pick he threw in the 3rd quarter, I think, is where everything kind of flipped for Buffalo, because that was a bad throw in a bad situation. Even Romo's on the TV saying, Skylar can't throw a pick here, right? Like that's the worst case that can come. 3rd and 17, and that I put that on the coaches too. What are you doing calling that play on 3rd and 17, giving him an opportunity to throw that pick? You run a draw, you run a screen, you punt it away, you continue to You just hope that Buffalo stays in kind of the doldrums they were in. Instead, he throws a pick, and we all know the kind of momentum you can build off turnovers.
That's exactly where I was just going to go with it. I mean, just Josh Allen feeds on momentum, and I feel like with that comes the opposite, right? Where he can kind of compound these errors, and it's almost like he gets overwhelmed when he's in his offense, and he goes the extreme route rather than just going the conservative, more responsible, mature route.
Yeah,
the Brady route, the Rodgers route, the Manning route, get there.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I think that he can clean it up. There's no doubt, right?
I think so too.
But let's see where his headspace is when it's time to tee off against a very formidable opponent.
Yeah.
So Seahawks, Niners, and to no one's surprise here,
I think the biggest surprise was the fact that the Seahawks had a lead going into half.
Yeah, I feel like everything was kind of that way. There was a lot of games that were just like there were no-brainers in the first quarter, second quarter.
Yeah.
And then shit got real interesting.
Yeah. San Fran did in the second half what I think we all expected them to do in this game. And it got ugly. It got ugly, and they scored on, I think, four straight touchdown drives at one point, or some 4 straight scoring drives or something in the second half. Pulled away, nearly doubled up the Seahawks. The Seahawks, they've got to feel really good about this season getting into the playoffs. Losing in the wild card round sucks, of course. Once you get to the wild card round, you don't want to lose in the play. Once you get in the playoffs, you're like, sky's the limit. Let's go try to win the Super Bowl. But Seahawks got to feel really good because they made the trade with Russ. They're in clearly a rebuilding phase, and they hit on a lot of those rookie picks. Geno had a good season, but they've got Tariq Woolen is probably going to be number 2 behind Sauce Gardner for defensive rookie of the year. Kenneth Walker
is a
number
monster.
2 or 3 on the offensive rookie of the year ballots. I think they found a starting left tackle in the draft. I think they actually drafted 2 tackles. I think it was the first time in playoff history, two rookie tackles starting. So they may have bookends on the offensive line as well. And they hit on a rookie defensive. I think he's a defensive end, might be an interior rusher, but they hit on a lot of draft picks this year. For a team that's rebuilding, that's how you rebuild quickly. And Geno Smith played well, and it looks like they won the Russell Wilson trade.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's been pretty evident all season, but this just kind of nail in the coffin here.
Yeah, Seahawks in the playoffs is the worst thing you wanted to see as a fucking Broncos fan, hoping Russ was going to be the savior.
I really hope that Geno Smith gets this same kind of trajectory as Russ did in the beginning, because I feel like there's some diamond in that rough,
Yeah, I'm curious what they're going to do with him this offseason, because I don't by any stretch believe he's a $40 million guy. Like, he's not going to get paid like he's Mahomes or anything, but they're going to have to pay him a little bit, and I don't know if they're going to. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. I'm curious to see how that plays out, because that position, some teams are constantly shooting for the home run at that position, and other teams try to build around guys, and we've seen success both ways. I'm curious what they'll do. I think he's going to get paid. I just don't know if it's going to be in Seattle.
Also true. Good. Geno Smith's stock is up there now. It's getting up there.
It's too bad he wrote back at half, though.
He wrote back. All right. Giants, Vikings. Listen. The magic. Brian Daboll.
It felt like that magic had run out at about week 14.
Yeah.
And then
we thought they coasted into the postseason.
And then they got healthy against Washington. And
listen.
Wow. I'm going to sound like a hater. So I know I'm going to sound like a hater. All right.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
this doesn't make
You
any
already
sense.
do.
I
Okay.
know. This doesn't make any sense, right? There's
Yeah.
one person in maybe Kayvon Thibodeau that you can say scares you on this Giants team, right? Saquon Barkley and
Yep.
Kayvon Thibodeau are probably the only two people you look at on that roster and say, we've got to do something with them. They're really bad at most positions on this roster. Yet, they won a fucking playoff game against a 13-win Vikings team. And they just continue to win one-score games. They make plays when it matters. Daniel Jones doesn't turn the ball over anymore. And they just find ways. It's fairy dust. It's whatever you want to call it. But I look at the roster composition. I look at the skill position players, and I look at what they've got in terms of the ability to win in the trenches, and I say, this does not make sense to me at all. And I say that full well knowing that they're about to go into Philly and knock Philly off and be in the NFC fucking championship game.
Dude, do not sleep on the New York Giants.
Don't stop doing. I got to tell myself to stop doing it.
But listen, though, my issue is with the inconsistencies and from both teams. Okay,
the Vikings,
Kirk,
smash.
Something happened at the end of the season, and it was unfair to Vikings fans. And listen, this says a lot more for me about the Minnesota Vikings than it does the Giants, honestly. And it sucks. Like,
I agree with you 100% about that.
I think New York dragged brain against a struggling Minnesota offense. And, you know.
Can you blame the offense, though, really? Like, you gave up 31 points to the fucking Giants, man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So my whole point on this is simple: this is a perfect explanation to where we're at in the NFC, right? Like, the New York Giants are in the playoffs, and this performance is although, like, look, it was an exciting game, but you know, like, this doesn't survive in the AFC. This doesn't make it to the AFC playoffs. Look at what we're dealing with in the AFC right now. There's some absolute monsters in there.
Probably. All right, I've got a quick comment on that note, Aaron. I'm not by any stretch saying that Kirk Cousins was really, really great in this game.
Okay.
Look at the stat line. 31 of 39 for 273 and 2 tutties.
Yeah.
No INTs. And he had a rushing touchdown. He had 3 total touchdowns in this game. He accounted for every touchdown this team scored.
As quarterbacks do.
And yet we're just going to shit on him because it's a primetime game, right? Because it's playoffs. And they gave up 31 points to the fucking Giants, man. 31 points. The Giants offense. I said this jokingly in a fucking. I think I even posted it maybe on Facebook. The Giants were literally, if you ever played Tecmo Bowl as a kid, okay, the Giants were literally just pushing up and B, and then up and A every other play when they were selecting plays on offense, and the Vikings never adjusted one fucking bit. It was literally just cross posts all day, one over, one under, and one of those guys was going to be open because that was the defense that the Vikings were playing. No, Aaron, it's fine to poke fun too because he does have an awful record in these primetime games. But they literally, every other play was just cross posts. And then Greg Olsen was pointing it out on live TV, and yet the Vikings never made an adjustment defensively to give any sort of levels to the defense and put any sort of pressure on Daniel Jones to make a fucking read. All he had to do was one read, not there, cool, I'm going to the other guy. He's going to be fucking wide open, screaming down the hash. Like, it's just terrible from both sides, honestly. And the check down on 4th and 8, there's no excuse for it. That's like taking a knee instead of spiking a ball at the end of the half, like these bonehead fucking brain fart plays that you know, these are the Kirk Cousins moments, right? Like, I don't know how you can check down on fucking 4th and 8. Throw a ball up. Just fucking throw one up. You got a better chance than checking down to Hawkinson. God,
I mean,
Vikings are frustrating, man.
they really are.
They're like the Chargers. They have too much talent for this bullshit.
Yeah. Dalvin Cook kept to 60 yards.
They got the best wide receiver in football, and they've got one of the 3 best dual threat running backs in football. Too much talent. Too much talent. Ridiculous.
Listen,
Anyway.
I'm not trying to be a dick, but I just want to say this. Their leading wide receiver's name for the Giants is Isaiah Hodgins.
Right. Undrafted.
Listen, I got a question.
He was cut from the Bills.
Who the fuck is Isaiah Hodgins?
Exactly. Undrafted guy, cut from the Bills. He's the leading receiver against the Minnesota motherfucking
Hawkinson
Vikings
is a fucking tight end making way more than this guy. A tight end. And this is who New York put up on.
This is who New York put up there. Yeah, it's crazy, dude.
I'm dead.
Crazy.
I'm dead.
It's crazy. Isaiah fucking Hodgins.
There's your perspective for me. It's just like I cannot. I can't even, dude.
Tore him the fuck up.
You know who the rushing leader was for the Giants?
Daniel Jones. It was crazy, dude.
He had more carries than Cook.
I know.
What are we doing?
Oh God.
What are we doing, Vikings? Yeah. Dalvin Cook had less carries than Daniel Jones. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
What a time to be alive.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic. All right, so another good one. And man, I felt like Ravens Bengals 2 was gonna get. I thought it was gonna get spicy there for a little bit.
Yeah,
I did.
Yeah,
I felt like it was gonna get spicy, and then
got a little chippy,
and then it didn't. Real quick.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Yeah.
You know, Burrow is just. What the hell is that?
Uh-oh.
Where is it?
You got a tab. Where is it? You got ESPN up?
Oh, I think so.
ESPN does that shit to me all the time.
Oh, it scared the shit out of me. I was like, where's that coming from? Anyways, sorry.
Whew. It's amazing that this game was settled on a 98-yard fumble return by a defensive end, too. That, like, the Ravens legitimately, I thought, were about to knock off the Bengals, honestly. I thought they were about to punch, and the game was essentially going to be over at that point because the Ravens defense had answers for the Bengals offense, and the Bengals had lost 2 offensive linemen in this game. So Burrow was under fire all day. But man, Sam Hubbard fucking scoops. Actually, it fucking fell right in his lap.
Yeah,
and really rumbled and bumbled and stumbled all the way, down for a fumble 6 that ended up being the deciding moment in the game. And after the game, you heard kind of John Harbaugh's take on it that, you know, he's got to understand you go low there. You don't try to go over the top. You're too far away. It sounded like they planned on quarterback sneak twice, which is, you know, in that scenario, maybe that's the most productive thing they thought. J.K. Dobbins had some thoughts after the game, though, you know, saying like he should have been in that situation. I should have been in the game carrying the ball. And he punched in from 2 yards out earlier in the game. So a little bit of discontent there from the Ravens side's tough loss, divisional loss, playoffs. And you felt like you had the game sort of in hand because I do believe that if they had scored there, it would have been tough for the Bengals to come back and win that game.
Dude. Costly interception. Costly fumble.
Yeah. Yeah, Huntley did have one bad pick too. That was so you can't do that when the Ravens are on their 3rd string quarterback too. So like a 2nd string, but Anthony Brown had played some as well. So
yeah, I went into the first half thinking like, all right, this is gonna be good.
Yeah.
You know, something's going, and I didn't even necessarily feel like, obviously, Joe Burrow was under a lot of pressure. I still feel like up into up until the fumble return for me was it. That was when I was like, all right, it's over. The momentum's gone. The fire's gone. That team just felt defeated for the rest of the game.
Yeah. It's tough, right? The Ravens don't have an explosive offense. They've always kind of relied on Lamar to just kind of be Superman within that offense. And Huntley's athletic. Huntley is a guy who is really good with the ball in his hands, but he doesn't throw the ball as well as Lamar, and he doesn't really threaten the defense with the same sort of explosiveness with his feet that Lamar does. I mean, there's very few quarterbacks that ever have. It's like Lamar and Michael Vick
doing it again,
and that's it. Yeah, I usually just mute the tab, right-click the tab, and mute site. But yeah, I mean, you're talking Michael Vick, you're talking Lamar Jackson, and you're asking Tyler Huntley to be that guy, and I don't think they asked him to be that guy, but late in that game, if they were going to try to make that comeback, he was going to have to do something special. And I just don't know that Tyler Huntley has that kind of special in him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know where I feel like there's still so much to do with the Ravens. I'm curious to how much longer do you invest in a quarterback that can do such great things and can also get injured and be out half your season?
I wonder too if there's any impact from the fact that he didn't travel with the team. That doesn't sit well with me. I can't imagine that sits really well with players in that locker room and the coaching staff. I don't know. And, I asked this question. I was talking with my brother. I said, with Lamar, should the Ravens invest in him long term? Can't stay on the field anymore. It feels like there's some tread coming off those tires. And now you've got a situation where he made what appears to be a business decision and not playing in this game. I wonder if he had already secured the bag if he would have played in this game, because the conversation when he first went down was like, oh, this could be a week-to-week thing, maybe a couple weeks, and he should be back fine for the playoffs. And then suddenly it's like, well, he's not playing this week. Well, he tried it again. He's not playing this week. Well, he says it's still not stable. So I wonder how much of this was a business decision. And I can't fault Lamar himself, but I also, from an organizational perspective and from a locker room perspective, wonder how much of an impact that might have on how they feel about his future there, because he's asking for a fully guaranteed contract. He wants Deshaun Watson money, but he wants that fully guaranteed contract, and that's a lot of money to invest in a guy that, are you sure he's going to play 15 to 18 games a season, and get you in the playoffs and be there when you get to the playoffs? Because as you put it, he is dynamic. He is dynamic when he plays, when he's right. He's pretty unbelievable. But can you rely on him to be there late in the season when it matters?
Yeah, I worry about that. What his trade value looks like, what that impact would, I don't know. Where would he go? Where would he go anywhere? Stock's kind of dropping on Lamar.
It certainly feels that way,
I worry about it. Is it time, Gary?
It's time.
All right, fine. Give me just a second. I'll be right back. I mean, I'm still here. I just can't hear you because it's time to get ready. All right. I can't hear you, and I'm gonna have to figure out how to headphone this so I can. Ooh, we're everywhere.
Hey, don't worry. The floor is yours, bud.
That's not right.
Interrupting you. The floor
You're
is yours.
goddamn right, baby. Cowboys fans, listen to me. I'm gonna get the real serious part out of the way. because Cowboys fans need to hear this. I don't appreciate my Cowboys fans enough. However, I'm talking to you straight up. We did it. All right. 7-1 against the Cowboys, Brady's record. You heard that? So listen, we've beat Tom Brady. We've done it in the postseason. We're here. And we gave it our best. So now that the serious part's out of the way, Tom Brady was sweating. Okay. Tom Brady is now a man who got home from the game texting Giselle, "Are you up?" Okay. This man, after this game, was rethinking his whole life. Not more than just his future at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This man was rethinking his team, which we knew. He was rethinking his life choices, which he's done. I'm telling you, there was a text message. It was happening. The absolute fucking emotional damage that this man had to bear truth to with Micah Parsons. With a hellacious defense appearance, because it's not consistent either. But that shit was good. We saw three and out in the first run, or in the first possession of the game, and I was sweating. I was like, oh man, it's going to be real bad. Not even one of those bad games. It's going to be one of those bad games. Oh, dude, Gronk is there. He's trying to cheer him up. He's probably dancing in front of him or something stupid. Yeah.
So now that Aaron interjected a little humor, I'm going to interject a little humor too. AB responded to Tom Brady's text message.
Listen. Oh, dude.
Yeah, we're up.
Listen. And we lose, and now we've lost Byron Leftwich in Tampa Bay, right? I don't necessarily agree with that, but sure. You know, it's sure, but I think the stats were against him, right? You got some of the best receivers in the NFL. You've got the best quarterback of all time. So, you know, you had a royal flush in your hands, and you lost it. So, but the Cowboys, despite having possibly the worst kicking performance I know for sure I've ever seen on camera, it was terrible. It was embarrassing. I lost sympathy after the second one. You know, Dalton Schultz is something else, dude. Tight end showed up. Gallup was clutch. CeeDee Lamb got cut off, and we fucking started rocking shit. We played the short game. We did what we needed to do, playing that good conservative ball. That is a characteristic that Dak can be good at. It's mostly what he relies on because he doesn't have a fucking cannon like Josh Allen. However, he knows how to run his irons. Okay? He's running his irons, and he's running them fucking good, baby. So I needed to see that. I knew it was going to be a bounce back after Washington. I knew it. I fucking knew it. That's why I bet the farm on him. In a Speedo, dude, if that. Let's be honest. Okay, if that. So, yeah. I mean, defensive performance was fantastic. CeeDee Lamb finally got a little love in the end, and that's fine. But I'm so glad that we just stopped. We stopped the bullshit, and we moved on. CeeDee was not showing up, and he needed to we needed to move on from him as an option for a little bit, and it panned out. Despite the fact that it was 24-0 at one point with 4 touchdowns, you know? So I think that's enough of my monologue.
What's wild about that game, to go back to me opening my new book here, which is not true, okay? OPM, it's not true. But that game missed the over by a half point.
How poetic.
A half point from the line at close.
How poetic. I'm just saying, dude.
That's wild, dude. It's wild.
It's where we're at.
Yeah, it's crazy. All
you
right.
know, I'm still
So
praying for us this weekend. So,
so here are my thoughts on the game, and
oh,
I
we were gonna get your thoughts. Okay.
might as well.
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
So I picked Tampa to win this. I picked Tampa to fucking get to the Super Bowl. And by the way, now neither you nor I nor Andy have a horse alive in the NFC. You two picked the Rams. I picked the Bucks, and they're all out.
Yeah,
So the Bucks just played one more week than the Rams.
you made it out the furthest though. So
Yeah,
there's that.
yeah. I survived another 7 days.
We were chugging that Ryan Stafford Kool-Aid, and
Yeah.
I apologize.
But this game was very interesting to me because of how poorly Dallas played down the stretch of the season with Dak with 7 straight games with a pick, and as bad as they looked against Washington, right? They looked like a JV squad that didn't belong in the playoffs against Washington. And I don't know if they were trying to be super vanilla or what, but they had a shot to win the 1 seed for one. And two, they played their starters for like 3 full quarters in that game. So you're not going to tell me that they didn't at least have an idea of something they wanted to get out of that game and they didn't get it, right? But they flipped the switch and they put it on. They put it on the Buccaneers. They looked really once they settled in after the first drive. They settled in. They seemed to kind of feel themselves a little bit. The running game got going a little bit, and Dak was finding guys in those empty zones and really was kind of progressing from receiver to receiver a lot better than he had been in a while. And defensively, they were making plays and suffocating. I think one defensive play, and maybe it's not even a defensive play, maybe it really just is a bonehead play from Brady that I think swung this game in its entirety and ended up kind of resulting in what it resulted in. That interception in the end zone. After you guys had scored a touchdown, the Buccaneers go right back down the field and they've got the ball at the 2 yard line. And I don't know what happened on that play, but it's probably the most uncharacteristic throw that I've ever seen Tom Brady make. He just kind of like looks one way and the throw's not there. I think he was trying to get to Evans first. He came back over to Gage and Gage was covered. And I don't know if he was trying to throw it out of the end zone and then had a second thought, or was trying to throw it to receiver and had a second thought late and just made a terrible throw. But it like he threw it to nobody except there was a Dallas Cowboy. I think it was Wilson maybe that made the interception, but it that's neither here nor there. I don't know what happened on that play, but it did feel a little bit like two things happened there with that. The Buccaneers felt really defeated when they walked off the field there. Brady was bit hangdog, and it seemed like the offense was just kind of shell shocked. And then Dallas came back and scored again right after that, and it was like, uh-oh, right? This could get out of control, and it sort of did. And then the Buccaneers got some late points to kind of, I don't know, maybe wash some of the salt out of the wounds. But this was Dallas almost, in my opinion, almost with some of the special teams issues, and there were still a couple times where Dak sailed some throws that I'd like to see him drive them a little better. Maybe the thumb really is bothering him still. I'm not really sure what it is, but they played an almost complete game at a time when I didn't expect that out of them because of how they looked in the last 6-7 weeks, especially in week 18. That was a hell of a turnaround. It's a tribute to McCarthy and the boys on the coaching staff getting the team ready for the game. It's a tribute to the players rallying around each other and showing up when the game mattered. This is usually a game the Cowboys come out and lay an egg, right? Historically speaking, over the last 20 years, this is a game that the Cowboys come out and say, yeah, well, we're in the playoffs, another first-round exit, and Jerry's got to explain why he's keeping McCarthy around for another year. Not the case, right? Not the case. They came out and they fucking shit stomped the Buccaneers, and they've got a hell of a lot of momentum going into a game where they're about to play a backup quarterback, a third-string quarterback. Now it's, Brock's played fine, but if there's ever a time for that defense to really say, we're here, this is the time.
I mean, it's going to be they're going to have to fight for it. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
It is the Niners.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one.
Yeah.
Just not confident. Not confident. So what do you say we get into the most important part of our show? So every episode we dedicate to a fallen service member in our segment sponsored by Folds of Honor we like to call our Salute to Service. This episode is dedicated to Army Private First Class Luis A. Moreno. He passed away January 29th, 2004, serving during Operation Iraqi Freedom. He was 19 years old, from the Bronx, New York, assigned to Battery A, 4th Battalion, 1st Field Artillery, based at Fort Riley, Kansas. And he passed away at the Lakin Health Medical Treatment Facility in the United Kingdom after he was shot on January 23rd on guard in Baghdad. Army Private First Class Luis A. Moreno. We have the watch.
All right. I guess let's attempt to transition to divisional round.
Let's do it. So the stage is set here for the divisional round. And we've got a fun game, a fun weekend of football ahead of us. I feel like every single game, this is the first playoff, I think, in a while that I feel like I can say confidently that any team could win any of these games.
Yeah, I think
Jacksonville's the only one I really question.
Yeah, you'd probably get a handful of people that say Jacksonville doesn't have a chance against Kansas City. I disagree, honestly. And the Giants, I don't know how you can count them out the way things have just been kind of falling their way. And week 18, the Eagles needed to win to seal it up. The Giants were playing fucking nobody, and they only lost by, I think, one score, maybe two scores, but that's a game the Eagles should have ran away. So those two matchups, I think, are the two that if somebody was going to argue one way being a heavy favorite. But no, I think that there's certainly intrigue in all four of these games.
I think the scheduling worked out perfectly, honestly. It's kind of in order of severity.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe it's a biased opinion, but we'll at least speak for Saturday. Sunday, however, I don't know. I feel like for me, Dallas is more important, but I think the best game is going to be Cincinnati-Buffalo. Anyways, so who are you thinking here going into the immediate matchup here Saturday? Jacksonville at Arrowhead, 3:30. I mean, are you confident enough in Jacksonville to pick them now? Mm-hmm.
Look, I like what's going on in Duval. I like what Dougie P's doing. I like the core that they've got going. And I will say this. If the Jaguars are going to beat Kansas City, it's going to come down to their front four, their front 6, 7, where they get pressure from, really. They run a lot of kind of exotic blitzes. They're not afraid to bring pressure and put their cornerbacks on man-to-man coverage on an island behind them. And without Tyreek Hill there, you feel like this might be the time. Ooh, that is spicy by 10, huh? Okay.
Dang.
Okay, that's spicy. I like the confidence.
He said there. 2 possessions, okay?
Two scores.
He's out here.
2 scores.
Not one, but 2 of them.
2 scores. I mean, that's crazy. That's
disrespectful in Arrowhead,
spicy.
Dude.
That's spicy. I like it. But if Jacksonville's going to pull this off, it's going to be that pressure up front. It's going to be making Patrick Mahomes get off his spot. Jags and Bengals. All right. We got his AFC predictions. Getting Mahomes off his spot, being able to cover on the back end, and forcing the Chiefs to maybe give up a possession or two. Maybe you create a sack strip fumble, and get a turnover that way. Yeah, hot take for sure. That's what Jacksonville's going to have to do. Now, I'm not picking them to win the game because the Chiefs, they really, honestly, they lost Tyreek Hill and they scored more points this year, and Mahomes had more touchdowns this year. And I think that it's harder to focus on taking away one thing to make them kind of human. So now it's harder to shut them down. And I hope I'm wrong, because I'd love to see Jacksonville keep the run going because it's fun to watch them.
Yeah.
But I don't know that they're going to be able to create enough pressure on Mahomes to really get him rattled for enough of this game for their offense to score enough points. It's probably somewhere in the 20s. I do think they keep the Chiefs out of the 30s, 20, maybe a 27-23 type game. Chiefs by a score.
So you're saying that Trevor Lawrence won't be able to put up 24 points?
Maybe 24.
Well, at least 21 of those.
Yeah. I just think 27-23 is probably where I'm at.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to get this out of the way. I'm absolutely with Kansas City on this. I was just trying to hype you up to see if you'd take it. I just want to see if we can get something spicy.
I like the sell job.
I was also
gave us the spice, man.
Listen,
we got
Robert's with him.
We got it in the comments section.
Dave's with him. He's got his AFC picks.
That's right. Dave's got Jags and Bengals. Yeah, we know both AFC picks.
Aaron, you're a regular. Who is your picks for the AFC and NFC? I just want to see y'all's, and then we'll tell you ours.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now that your Broncos aren't in it.
Yeah. Exactly. Let's ride. Okay. So, I mean, it's the PG safe route for me. I really wanted to gamble on it. I wanted to, but Patty's stop. Patty's one of those quarterbacks that's often defense proof. So, that's where I'm at with it. He's too versatile. He doesn't need a lot of elite level threats. He's just equally as dangerous. He's got a good running game, got a great coach. They're all right. And they're all right for a reason. So there's a reason why we didn't see him last weekend. So
the Jags are on the come up.
Yeah.
KC, Bengals, Eagles, Cowboys. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you went PG safe route in the you went PG safe route on this game. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, on this one.
Okay. So next up we got in the NFC divisional. Number 1 at 7:15 on Saturday. We got New York at Philly. And, a little divisional rivalry here. And we've got magic that we really can't account for or explain in New York. We've got Philly coming off of an uncomfortable victory and a rest week. An uncomfortable game.
Yeah.
So this is bounce back and rest for somebody, or this is continued investment in magic, right? So I don't think that New York is going to beat Philly at home. I don't. I think the rest week is what they needed. Bounce back games are a thing for a team like Philly. And it's going to be just enough momentum for them to walk into an NFC championship with being a problem against who I think is going to be facing them. So this will be interesting. Aaron's calling the proper Eagles Cowboys proper NFC East showdown. And that's dope, because if Dallas wins, it's an NFC East showdown in the NFC in the NFC, and I love that. Nobody saw that. If anybody bet that at the beginning of the season, dude, you're living large.
Yeah.
You're living large, dude. I don't know if there's a line on that. I doubt it. But anyways.
Yeah, I don't know.
Somebody's betting something. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So
somebody will find a book somewhere to take.
Yeah, I'm with Philly here. I mean, they're the better team. They're the more put together team. They're the second. They're the third most dangerous team in the NFC, and yeah, I'm still gonna ride with them here. I think that they're gonna. I think they've got it to beat New York, and I don't know that. Look, Daniel Jones is figuring some of it out. Saquon's not enough, and I don't know. Who the fuck is Isaiah Hodgins?
He's that dude.
Apparently.
Look,
So,
I'm going the other way.
yeah.
I'm going the other way. I'm taking the Giants in this game. I still don't.
Same, Aaron. Same.
I just don't love what I see from Philly on a weekly basis. It's now Jalen Hurts is nicked up. They still have some trouble with the run at times, and I think that's what the Giants are just going to continue to do. And I don't think Jalen Hurts is healthy. That's the biggest thing for me. That shoulder's still bugging him. I don't see them being able to pull this off. Dave's got Giants Niners, so
yeah.
I can't explain what's going on with the Giants, and for that reason, I'm gonna stick with the Giants. It may burn me now that I'm finally embracing what the fuck is going on at MetLife, but
Yeah.
It's hard to beat a team 3 times in a season too. And I know there's some there's people out there that say, oh, that's just a quirky stat. It's legitimately tough. I mean, in the history of the game, when you faced a team in the playoffs that you're 2-0 against, those teams are well below 500. So it's not an easy task to beat a team 3 times in a season. So that's where I'm at with this. I think the Giants are going to pull off this upset.
And that would just, I mean, Magic's already off the charts with the Giants. We know this.
That's some Tinkerbell shit.
So Dave sides with the Giants Niners
would be a horrible game.
And Aaron's got smoke for it immediately. Robert, I don't know if you're still watching, but let us know your picks too. I was looking at that. So we got everybody else pitching in here their picks. Man, I get the case for either side. I mean, there's, this is close enough to where either team could win.
Yeah.
It's what makes it so competitive. That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like Jacksonville, Kansas City is the only like clear cut for me.
Yeah, that's fair.
So on to the best games of the week here. Look, Cincinnati on the road in Buffalo, 2 p.m. on Sunday. And, we've talked about it, especially in the last few weeks. We've talked about the completion versus the danger versus the coach proof. And we've seen the triumph and tribulation of both teams. But
Buffalo here for Robert. Okay.
Buffalo. Fair enough. Riding with Bills. Man, and I don't remember who I picked in the AFC. I believe it was the Bills. I believe I picked the Bills.
You did. You did.
So
I did.
I feel like I need to ride with them, but I can't do it.
You're entitled.
I can't do it.
This game in a vacuum.
I can't. And I wanted to stay true to my Bills the whole set, like just ride with them all the way to the end and just be a true blue investment in the Bills this year. And I have been. There's been very little time whenever I was like, there's no way, and the Bengals were the only team that really ever made me question
it.
Yeah. And so with that,
they're like the Chargers, just not as sucky.
Yeah. So Cincinnati, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon, Higgins. Come on. You cannot rattle Joe Burrow.
Yeah. I have flip-flopped on this quite a bit as I've thought about who I think will win this game.
Yeah.
And I sort of saw this matchup coming and just started kind of thinking through, like, what are some of the things that would lead up to this? And if you asked me probably 10 days ago, you might have gotten me to pick the Bengals. But in that time between 10 days ago and today, they've lost 2 more offensive linemen that won't play in this game. They definitely aren't going to have one, and they're unlikely to have the other. Alex Kappa and Their starting left tackle. I forget his name now, but he dislocated his fucking kneecap. Um, I just that's too much for me now because that's 4 offensive linemen that they've lost off of a offensive line that for 15 weeks hadn't had the same starting lineup, right? The same 5 started for them 15 straight weeks, and then they've lost those 2 guys. They lost Lyle Collins and I forget the other one, but they've had a lot of injuries along the offensive line. So for me, that makes enough of a difference for me that I don't think that they're going to be able to really contend with the Buffalo front 4. And I know Burrow doesn't fold under pressure, but I don't know that it's going to be the pressure so much as he's not going to have time to let Chase win on routes, to let T. Higgins win on his intermediate routes. And Tyler Boyd might be the most important person in this game because he's in the slot, but the Bills have a really, really good slot corner. Taron Johnson is a really, really good slot corner. So I think he's going to be able to neutralize Tyler Boyd to a certain extent. And I just think that Buffalo's defense is going to rattle the cage enough in this game to keep the Bengals from scoring enough points. I think the Bills are going to put up probably 31. The Bengals probably get to 24, maybe 27. And it's just that offensive line, man. It's a mash unit right now. They've lost a couple of guys on defense suddenly too. So I'm going with Buffalo, and I'm going to be honest. I wish I was more confident than I am in that pick because Joe Burrow's a fucking nightmare for anybody. You've heard me say it. He's coach proof. He's scheme proof. I think he's well on his way to becoming the best fucking quarterback in football. But right now, I just think that it's going to be too much for the Bengals to overcome with all the injuries they've been dealing with. And Buffalo's starting to get healthy. They got Micah Hyde back. It's one of those things. Yeah, Aaron, it feels like that, especially this year. Last year, I think they were much more consistent, but this year, for sure, it's been a fucking roller coaster ride all year this year.
Yeah, I think that last year Buffalo wins the Super Bowl. You know, if they continued.
I think so.
I just can't say that this year. I mean, look, the trajectory looks good, right? Like they're not. The Buffalo Bills are a problem, and they always have been. They've never not been. Cincinnati is heating up as they should be, but yeah, they're being plagued by injury. I'm just. I feel like the plays that will come off will be enough. He's efficient. The man has been on his heels this entire goddamn season, dude.
Gets the ball out quick too.
It is nothing new for this man to deal with. But yeah, that defensive front for the Bills is rough.
Yeah.
So, and I think I wonder, do you feel like San Francisco and Dallas is a close game for you?
Yeah.
What do you feel like is the toughest decision for you?
Old-time rivalry too. My biggest factor in this game is whether or not I believe Brock Purdy can play a clean game against a Dallas team that has the capability of really getting after the quarterback. When they're on, they're a menace in the backfield. So that, for me, that was my biggest X factor. The toughest thing for me to reconcile when I was really thinking about who I was going to pick to win this game. Yeah, Aaron, I do too. I think Buffalo's starting to kind of get the number of Kansas City. Cincinnati's got
Oh
Kansas
yeah, dude.
Too. Cincinnati, Joe Burrow's 3-0 against fucking Mahomes.
I'm not saying I'm out on KC. I am definitely saying that again. The KC's number 3 in the AFC, in my opinion.
Yeah,
they are.
I agree.
They are. They're number 3.
28-24, Big D.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm watching
one of those games.
I'm watching the AFC Championship already. You know.
Yeah.
For me,
I think I agree. The winner of this, I think, goes to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yep. So 100% Aaron. You know what I mean? Out here. So yeah, Brock Purdy is a variable and a big one, you know? Youngster, proven. But you know, even the goat's getting fucking eaten up out here, dude. So listen, these waters is not to be fucked with.
It's tough out here in these streets.
It's tough out here in these streets, baby. Out here. Ugh, man. There's a chance that this goes either way. So,
yeah.
Who are you riding with?
I am picking Dallas to win this game. I do think Purdy comes back to earth in this game. I think that they get to him. I think Micah Parsons is going to move all over that offense or that defensive line because they can't just line him up against Trent Williams all game. The Silverback's the best offensive lineman in football. You can't do that. So I think Parsons is going to get after him from all over the place. I think we're going to see, DeMarcus have a big game in the middle, and I do think, and on top of that fact, what I think Dallas is going to be able to do to him. Purdy threw 5 balls last week against Seattle that should have been picked, and he got away with all 5 of them. So you can't live that way and just be successful every week. So I just think we may see the clock strike midnight on Brock Purdy. Aaron, you're on to me, buddy. You're on to me.
if next Tuesday,
oh shit.
Just don't even come back to the show. If I have to see Brock Purdy in the AFC championship, in the NFC championship, don't even come back next week, dude. I'm gonna be big mad.
Oh man.
Yeah. So I think I was at work. I think I was talking to some coworkers this week at lunch, and we got to talking about the NFC, and I said that the San Francisco 49ers are the best team in the NFC, and I think that it's true. Like I think that it's true. Listen,
that reverse psychology.
It's that reverse psychology, man. Dude, I've waffled so hard on this. I've waffled so hard. Oh, for sure. No, I'm saying with him, this is him with a hex. Yeah. This is him. I mean, he is doing this he's kamikazing our fucking season right now by picking the Cowboys. I'm on to this shit. Aaron, I got you, bro. I got you.
Oh, Jesus.
But I do want to say this. I do want to say this. I, too, have waffled very hard as a Cowboys fan. I wanted to ride with him. I was talking to coworkers. I'm admitting it out loud that I said, like, look, the San Francisco 49ers are the best team in the AFC. I probably even implied that the Niners were going to win the game. I can't say that. I just can't. I can't mean it. I can't. And it was spineless of me to come off two-faced, and that was wrong. I'm saying it publicly so I could even refer my coworker. Listen, I don't know where we're at. Hour 14 minutes and 30 seconds in. I'm admitting, listen, I was wrong by saying this shit. I'm publicly admitting I was wrong. It is the Dallas Cowboys. But I do want to be clear. I do, whenever I'm only going back on my word that San Fran wins the game. I do, however, think that the Niners are the best team in the NFC. And then, despite many opinions, including an individual that I work with, and I hope that he watches this because he knows exactly the fuck I'm talking about.
Willard Beeman.
The Dallas Cowboys are close to, and I think that when facing each other, I'm still giving the edge to Dallas, and that's why I'm riding with them. Period. I think that our defense is fully capable of taking on Brock Purdy. I think that we'll put enough pressure on that offensive line to be a problem. We were clean against a tough offensive front last week. We played great. against a great quarterback, put him on his ass, and that was his biggest kryptonite. And I think we're going to see the same thing with somebody like Brock Purdy. You put him on his ass enough, he's going to get rattled, and then it's going to be it'll be a hyena fest if Dak can get on his shit. So I think that we can do that 2 times in a row. I think it's possible, and I think San Fran is capable of giving that to us by a poor enough offensive performance. And yeah, that defense is nasty. There's no doubt, but this offense can be nastier. Look, T.Y. Hilton showed up last week. Dalton Schultz, Michael Gallup, he was spreading the ball, and I loved it. The reads looked good. They were jiving. Kellen Moore and Mike McCarthy firing on all cylinders here. So that's where I'm at with it. I think it's going to be the Cowboys. I think it's going to be a 1-possession game, but it's Cowboys. Damn it. Put it on over my shit. There we go.
Cowboys country.
It's my Tony Llama. I think got a hawk feather right there. Come on.
Oh, nice. Hey. Nice.
I actually don't know if that's a hawk feather. I found it and I put it on there because it looked cool. Yeah, I feel like people with feathers in their hat have to have a story for the I don't. I just found the shit. I thought it looked cool. So
shot a guy.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I was attacked by a hawk. I don't know what you'd say. Anyways. All right.
You ready to get in our bag?
It's time to get in our bag, dude. Let's do it. We are in our fucking bag, boys. So, whenever you get a chance, got something on your mind related to an upcoming sport event. I mean, we could be talking hoops. We could be talking ball, hockey, all kinds of fun things coming up in the world. NBA's getting spicy, and I dig it.
Yeah.
I really dig it. I saw some bullshit about it involved LeBron James in a Chicago jersey, and I was like, all right, I'm done with the internet for today. But anyways, send us a DM, comment on a photo, whatever you want. Get in touch with us somehow. We'll be sure to read your question out on the air, and we'll answer it. We also have the floor. We got a few folks here with us tonight, and so we'll leave that open as well for these guys as we post your question to answer as well. So be sure to tune in every Tuesday night. We ran Thursday. We try to run Tuesdays, but anyways, we will be sure to let you guys know as we have our schedule changes. Gary Freeze Sr. asks, can Cole Beasley be enough of a weapon after being basically out of the league for a year to take the pressure off Diggs? I think that Beasley is certainly a key, in my opinion, to that offense. I think there's a reason why you bring somebody like a Cole Beasley. When I think about people like him, I think about the Danny Amendolas. I think about just that nuisance receiver to a defensive secondary that is tough, and it leaves people and weapons and problems like Diggs open. I think he can be enough of a weapon, and I think it's also just because, as long as he understands his position, doesn't need to be a superstar, which he does, and he's proven to have done so with Josh Allen. Come on.
And he's got bars.
And he's got bars. I think I posted, that was years ago. I posted a video of that. Wow. I found that video a few months ago, and I was like, damn, I was such a different person back then. That's how long we've been on the air.
I know.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Anyways, so what are your thoughts? Can Cole Beasley is he going to be one of the primary difference makers here going into the postseason?
Yeah, I think he can. Certainly. I think that we saw last week he got a touchdown, and there's some chemistry still there between him and Josh Allen. He was really good prior to his departure this past offseason, and there's a reason they brought him back. It didn't work out in Tampa with him, but Josh seems to still have some trust in him. He can be that security blanket, and it's clear that Isaiah McKenzie hasn't come of age in that role as the slot receiver. So I do think it's very important for them to establish Cole Beasley in the middle of the field to take pressure off Diggs, because Diggs is that guy that can receive at all different levels. So, um, yeah, exactly, Aaron. And that's a factor for not only Devin Singletary and James Cook, but that's Josh Allen too, being able to run and work the middle of the field. Because when you've got a guy like that can dominate the middle of the field, it's harder to spy on the quarterback as well. So he does a lot of different things if he can be that guy. And we've seen he's got some chemistry still with Allen. So I do think that he is an important factor for that offense to not only take the pressure off Diggs, but also to be a safety blanket for Josh Allen.
I don't think he's a bad thing. That's for damn sure. I think he's certainly a difference maker. Yeah, let's just hope it keeps Josh Allen in the headspace that he needs to be in.
Yeah, for sure.
We shall see.
Yeah.
On to the next one.
That's all we had in the bag. So
Perfect.
Facts.
Get it. Cat facts. Tom Brady plays next season. Man, this is another one that I kind of waffled on. I feel like he's got just enough ego to come back from retirement, maybe a third time, but I don't think he's going to retire yet. I don't think he is. I think he's back next season. I don't know where he goes. I mean, I've seen the Raiders jersey on him. I've seen all kinds of shit on this man, but like, I don't know where he goes. I would have to think a little more about options, but he definitely plays next season. Definitely.
I think you're right. There was a moment after the game where I was like, maybe he actually is done, because he was pretty dejected. He was pretty dejected in the post game interview. But I think back to last year, and I just think he takes losing really hard. He's a guy who doesn't like to lose. He's a guy who's won fucking a million championships. He's won a million big games like this, and it's one of those things with him that he just takes it hard, and it's hard for him to shut it off as quickly as maybe some other guys do. So I do think he plays next season. I don't think he unretired this past offseason to come back and go 8-9 and lose in the first round of the playoffs. I think he unretired because he realized, I love this shit.
Right.
And
still good at it.
Right. And I think he's still fine. There were just times this year that that offense was just out of sync all year. They got rid of Leftwich, and that might be a bid to keep Brady. I just don't know. Welcome, Dad. Welcome. Glad to have you. But I just think that it's too much for him to walk away from the game. He just loves it too much a part of his life. As far as options go, I think that we're down to like 3, maybe. Is it Tampa and they get a new offensive coordinator? I didn't think so, but they made that move to fire Leftwich so quickly that it convinces me that maybe that's a conversation that already happened, and that's a move to try to keep Brady. And then I look at Vegas, and I look at Miami, because I think Tua is going to retire. And I wonder if Brady ends up back in the AFC East. I know I talked a bit about the Jets, but I don't know that the Jets are looking for a one and done or two and done guy. I think they're looking for a longer term answer. So I still think that they might be in on Jimmy G. So I'm down to 3 teams. It's Tampa, it's Miami, and it's Vegas.
Ooh.
And if I had to throw my chips on the roulette wheel and pick a team, it's Vegas. I just think that they've got pieces. They've got to do some work on that defense, but they've got pieces. They've got really good running game, really good wide receivers, including maybe the second or third best receiver in all of football, in Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. I'm down to 3 teams. If he stays in Tampa and they just bring in a new offensive coordinator, I think it'll be Bill O'Brien, who's actually interviewing with the Patriots right now. But I don't know, man. I know that he plays. I'm down to 3 teams that I think he'll play for next year.
I hadn't really thought too much about Miami because I've just assumed. I feel like for me it's Vegas. Also, I don't. Yeah, but damn, Miami could be fire.
Imagine him with Tyreek and Waddle
Dude,
and Mike McDaniel, the fucking quirky guy at head coach there. That'd be a dangerous combination.
Single touchdown Tommy in Miami, dude. Come on. Savage.
Yeah, that too.
He's the Brad Pitt of Miami. Come on, dude.
Absolutely.
Come on. The Niners are the best team in the NFC.
You already answered this. I didn't expect you to.
Oh, wow. Damn. Complete guess. I had no idea, I swear. Listen, the Niners are the best team in the NFC. I think that they are. I think they're the best. They're the most put together team with what they have. They operate high efficiency. And again, the Cowboys comment for me is just purely because it's the Cowboys would just have a little bit more fucking dog in them, I think. And historic rivalry. So, I mean, come on. Got a rivalry team.
No, I agree. I think the Niners are the best team in the NFC. This is facts for me. My X factor is Brock Purdy. If he plays a good game this weekend, I'm going to be wrong about the Cowboys winning this game, but that's the only question mark on this team, and he's played so well that it's hard to even say it's a question mark right now because Kyle Shanahan is just magical with managing quarterbacks and putting them in position to succeed. It's they've got a really good offensive line. They've got the best offensive lineman in football in Trent Williams. They've got the best defense in football, stats-wise and talent-wise. Just look what they can do getting after the passer and playing in coverage. And they added CMC midseason, who's been a huge boon for them. Really explosive guy, can threaten you in a lot of ways. We actually saw him do it 3 different ways in the same game earlier this season, throwing, catching, and running one. Debo is still just a monster. And Brandon Ayuk has really come onto the scene this year, especially when Debo went down. Brandon Ayuk became that guy. And oh, by the way, I'm not talking about one of the 3 best tight ends in football in George Kittle. So they are, as you put it perfectly, they are the most put together team in the league.
Man, Miami makes sense if Tua retires. I hadn't even thought about Miami, but yeah, I mean it definitely for me might make more sense than Vegas.
Yeah, I think if we get news that Tua's
it depends on Josh Jacobs.
That too.
Depends on Josh Jacobs for me.
Yeah.
Because I think Tony Pollard's getting a franchise tag. And
Josh
I don't know.
McDaniels comes from that fucking Bill Belichick, we don't pay running backs type of fucking mentality too.
Dude, why is McDaniel still a coach?
Ooh, that's a good question.
You know? Why?
That's a good question.
Onward. Bills Bengals should be played at a neutral site. No. Why do you why I'm assuming you think so.
I sort of think so, but it would require the Aaron's trying to sniff out my conspiracy here that I'm sandbagging the Cowboys.
That's no conspiracy, dude. Like we're aware, bud.
I don't do that on this show. I don't do it.
Whatever, dude. We'll see. We'll see next week. Aaron, remember the shit. Remember this whole conversation.
I would never pick Washington ever if I were
when we get the gloating. It's gonna happen.
That guy.
Anyways, yeah.
I'm not going to gloat. I picked them to win.
No, what's going to happen? I'm not. Look, what's going to happen is
I'm going
that
to waffle gloat.
No, we're going to fuck up, and it's going to be horrible, and you will have caused this. You would be the reason that this happens because you picked the fucking Cowboys. When you pick the Cowboys, we lose.
I've never been happier to lose in my life.
Exactly what I'm saying. He's the kamikaze on a pick. He's taking an L for the brand, for the life on gang.
I don't do that. But anyway, this I sort of do, right? But it would require the NFL to admit a couple of different things. One, they fucked up in the execution of a lot of different things. They fucked up in the execution of deciding where games should be played in the playoffs too. Deciding Baltimore might get a coin flip if they won week 18 despite having one more loss. Like they just, it felt like, as Zach Taylor put it, it felt like everybody kind of won in the scenario except the Cincinnati Bengals. There was a lot of negative scenarios for the Bengals in this situation. And now one of those negative scenarios plays out and they're going to Buffalo in the divisional round. But just thanks for showing, Dave. Appreciate you, bud.
Good to see you, buddy.
I think the NFL would have to admit that they screwed up, and the NFL would have to admit that they're going to treat the Bills-Bengals outcome as the Bengals were winning at the time, but we can't necessarily just give them home field advantage, so we're going to put it at a neutral field. And then the NFL is never going to admit shit like that, so that's why we ended up with what we ended up with. But I do have a little bit of a feeling inside like this should be a neutral site game too. I just thought all along that any game between those three teams should be at a neutral site. Honestly,
yeah,
should be neutral site. Yeah, like Indy. I think Indy turned down because they had something going on. They turned down the AFC Championship game. I don't know if they could have done it this weekend. They're like replacing the turf or something. Detroit has something going on, or maybe Detroit's doing the turf and Indy's got like an event going on. That's why they ended up with Atlanta for Kansas City and Buffalo. But I do feel like this should be a neutral site game. Find a dome somewhere. If it's Indy, if it's Detroit, if it's Atlanta, go Atlanta 2 weeks in a row. I don't know.
I just feel like maybe not during Super Wild Card weekend, but I feel like divisional playoffs should always be. I mean, everything in the postseason should be played at a neutral site. I feel that way.
I can see the argument for that, but I think that does take a little bit of the advantage away from the team. Like this, this season was
That's the point.
Yeah, I understand. I understand.
You're leveling the playing field.
I understand what you mean, but I also I feel like if you have a better record, you should have the advantage of a home playoff game. But I can understand the argument the other way. This was a really kind of outlier situation too. So they lost a game for somebody almost lost their life, and it was just I just think that this should have been handled with exceptional circumstances, deserved an exceptional outcome, and all three of these teams, right? Like Kansas City, Buffalo, and the Bengals, any game played between those three teams should have had neutral site game.
Yeah.
No. They didn't win their division. We have to do away with divisions if we're going to go to that. And the Cowboys and the Eagles and the Giants and the Commanders all enjoyed a really, really weak schedule outside of their division because of the division scheduling. So there's trade-offs if we're gonna get rid of division winners hosting games. There's trade-offs.
I'm not opposed to leveling the playing field. That's just where I'm at with it. Like I understand where my team is regardless.
Sure.
And they're a number 2, so it's cool.
The
division itself is good. The conference itself is not good.
Not good. Right.
in comparison to the
And
fucking AFC.
they played the AFC South because of the divisional makeup.
Right.
And the entire NFC East went like what 14-1 or something, or 14-2 against the AFC South. So we benefited from the divisional scheduling this year. So it's one of those things. I can never get on board with division winners going on the road because of the way divisions are set up. If we get rid of divisions and it's just conferences, then fine, right? And you just play a randomized schedule based on strength of schedule from the previous season, yada yada yada. Then I'm okay with it. If we're just gonna rack and stack, and I think if they go that route, we're gonna end up with 8 teams from each conference in the playoffs too. I think we're gonna be closer to what the NBA does.
Yeah, as it should be.
I could get on board with that. If that was the route we went, I could get on board with that.
So where I'm at though is, since this is where we're acting on a singular game here, no, I'm cap on that. I'm good.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
We got to issue policy for the masses here, okay? Cap facts. Cowboys made the biggest statement of the Super Wild Card weekend.
Actually, hold that thought, because Aaron made a good point. They reseeded, but no division winner. Like,
they wouldn't lose home field for that.
They didn't change home field, right? They didn't change home field because the Giants won. They reseeded the matchup.
But in that 18 playoff, they would. Because there wouldn't be divisions. It would just be like the Bucs wouldn't have had home field to begin with because they wouldn't have been that good.
They wouldn't have made the playoffs.
Yeah, it would have been someone in the NFC East. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, anyway, so the Cowboys made the biggest statement of the Super Wild Card weekend. I'm going to continue to ride on the team, man. It's facts. Like, I really do. But they said more than just like, we're here to play. We're still, we're a fucking problem despite all the memes. We're just still here to see if we're still them boys. Like, we got that. We got it. We got it. Dak's face sitting up on fucking Tom's many, 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 many quarterback heads on his, just checking to see if the Bucs are still good. So yeah, I'm with that the Cowboys made the biggest statement. They exposed that Tom Brady and the Bucs were not prepared to turn around and come back and do it again, despite Tom's greatness. And they made a statement for themselves in that defense. So yeah, this is 100% facts.
Yeah, before I answer this, just to kind of address if it was conference and we just did 1 through 8 based on winning percentage, it would have been Lions and Commanders in, Buccaneers out.
Yeah,
if we went that route. So.
Boom.
And
boom.
I think that would have been fine. I would have loved.
I would have wanted to see it. I'd much rather see the Lions in there.
Absolutely. But this, my brother actually posed the question to me of who had the most dominating performance of the weekend. And I pitched the question back to him, or my answer back to him, in the form of, I think the 49ers were still the most dominant performance of the weekend because of what they were able to do defensively and offensively, and just kind of the way they handled a divisional opponent, and the fact that we all sort of knew the Buccaneers were down, right? Yeah. There's a difference between playing the Seahawks and playing the Buccaneers right now, because the Buccaneers are down. But what the Cowboys did do is they made the biggest statement. They showed me the most. Is actually how I phrased it to him. They showed me the most this past weekend because, as I said earlier tonight, the way they finished the season, I didn't expect much from them. And they came out and said, fuck you. We are here, and we're here for the long haul. That performance that Dallas put on last weekend makes me think that this team has the possibility of going very deep in this playoffs, which is not something I would have said exactly 9 days ago, right? When we had this show last week, there's no chance I would have said that about this team. So yes, facts. Yeah. They made the biggest statement of Super Wildcard weekend. They showed me the most of any team this week.
We talked about the Bengals-Bills game being the AFC Championship. I feel like the Niners-Cowboys game is the NFC Championship.
Feels that way. Feels that way.
We're watching the representatives here that will be in the Super Bowl.
Feels that way.
That's where I'm at.
I don't think the Eagles or the Giants are going to beat what the Cowboys put on the field last week or what the Niners put on the field last week. I don't think the Eagles or the Giants beat them.
Yeah.
I agree with you. This is probably the de facto NFC Championship game.
For sure. Onward. On to the next. Where are we at?
Let's do a little damn K.
Let's do it. Damn K is a segment where we like to give props, sending appreciation and quick damn K. Gary, who's your damn K going to this week?
Normally this goes to somebody who had a moment in a game, right? Made a big play, maybe overcome some odds, that sort of thing. Did something we wouldn't expect to see. But I'm going for something post game here. And I'm gonna say
yes.
Damn.
Do
for
it.
The fact that Sunshine
out here
was caught in a Waffle House at 3 a.m. After a 27-point comeback against the Chargers in the fucking wild card round. Out here at Waffle House at 3 a.m.
Dude,
doing the damn thing. No better place to celebrate at 3 in the fucking morning.
In the damn smoking section, baby. Out here at 3 a.m., motherfucker.
Out here. Him some of those fucking waffles.
He was one of us that night. God damn it.
Sunshine for making me feel like a human, more than a human being for a moment.
Man.
Damn, okay.
He was for the people. I'm saying, dude.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Sunshine for the people.
He's all inclusive.
Yeah, dude. I just I love that so much. That was so good. It took me back to, took me back to the many nights
I spent back in college.
Late night at a fucking greasy spoon, baby. But after a win like that, hanging brain.
Yeah.
And
absolutely
smiling. That long ass hair.
We had a little cafe called the Texas Cafe back home, and that was our spot.
Wow.
Late nights at Texas Cafe.
You've been obsessed. We got it.
Yeah. Dude, they got some Texas meat sauce, they call it.
I remember a spot we used to go to was like a
sunny side up for
it was like a 15 by 10 room, and they had a smoking section. Like come on, bro.
They had it cordoned off, and like you could only smoke there, but everybody's getting it,
bro. It wasn't even a partition, nothing. It was a rail. It was just a handrail.
So awesome.
It was just a handrail and some chairs, bro.
That's amazing. That is amazing.
It was awesome. It was
awesome. Oh shit.
You catching that smoke as soon as you walk in, bro. It was so good, literally. Anyways, damn, my damn K goes to Waffle House, goddamn.
Yeah, right.
No, I mean, I've talked about the damn K's, I've talked about the damn Cowboys a lot. I've given them lots of credit where it's due. I mean, for me, it just comes down to the defense. My damn K goes to Micah Parsons. Sweating. I mean, you couldn't stop him. He was a nuisance. He got injured. He sucked the fuck up. Hopefully my man got a shot, because we got to get back in this game. I know you're throwing out some Varsity Blues references. Go Pack, go, baby. Go Pack, go Pack. Oh, my God. Go Pack, go Pack. Come on. Dude. Yeah. So that's but yeah, Micah Parsons, man. He just outstanding. Yeah, this is what we needed and when we needed it. Damn it. Yes, so feels good. Now, I think we got some Bryans to congratulate.
Yes,
and this will be a good one. So Damn K is pretty much the polar opposite of Congrats Brian, although it's a lot more, congratulatory and positive in nature. It is not meant to be so. As the Southerns say, bless your heart, is not actual sympathy. So the Brian I would like to congratulate has the last name Staley.
Got to change the segment to congrats, Brandon.
Congrats, Brandon. Brand new segment this week as we continue on to this, because congrats, Brian is in order. Congrats, Brian is in order. Okay, my man's in the next game. Brandon Staley gets my congrats, Brian, for keeping your job somehow, as you are who you are this season. That's where I'm at with it, and I hate that for Justin Herbert. I really, really, really do. The same way I heard for Justin Fields.
Yeah.
So, Gary, which Brian are you congratulating?
Yeah, I had that one in reserve in case you didn't go that route.
Yeah.
Because Brandon deserved all the congratulations.
I feel like there's a few of them that deserved it, man. I
not get how he still has a fucking job this week. However, I'm gonna go off the playoff radar. And I'm going to go back to the original thesis, the original genesis of this entire segment that used to be called something else, but we've changed it for obvious reasons. And that I'm going to talk about Ron Rivera, and I'm going to talk about I'm going to talk about it because this has been an absolute embarrassment of an offseason, and it's just getting started. Fires Scott Turner in 2 years too late on that. And we have interviewed 3 dinosaurs and been turned down by another dinosaur. And rumor has it that they're trying to go to some 2-to-1 run versus pass offense in 2023. We're trying to take this back to fucking Jim Brown's days in the year 2023. Like, I don't understand what the fuck is going on. When you fire an offensive coordinator, it's normally to save your fucking job. And then you go interview Pat Shurmur and fucking people older than him. Like, get the fuck out of here, man. I got no patience for this bullshit. And then we got turned down by Jim Caldwell, who's another fucking dinosaur, who's not even employed in the NFL right now. He turned us down.
I was just going to ask, when's the last time you see him coaching the snap?
Seriously, this is fucking embarrassing. And the offseason hasn't even fucking started yet.
Why didn't they go after a Kellen Moore?
Because Dan is fucking Dan, bud. I've got nothing. I've got nothing to explain it. Ron should have been fired at the end of the season. We should be going to get D'Amico Ryans, period. End of story. Like, that's the only acceptable outcome for this offseason, and we're going to fuck it away. D'Amico Ryans is going to end up in Indianapolis, and they're going to go win fucking 9 Super Bowls.
So what about Byron Leftwich?
No. I'm okay on that. There's something wrong there with what was going on there. I don't want a guy that just got fired. I want a guy who's on the come up. Ron shouldn't be the head coach, but you can't go interview fucking dinosaurs in the year 2023. So for that, Ron, fucking congrats, Brian.
I don't hold Tampa Bay against Byron Leftwich. You can't have Chris Godwin and fucking Julio Jones and Mike Evans and Tom Brady and like have a high chance of success. I mean, you're catching lightning in a bottle proper with them. Like, and you've got to operate it right. It's not easy to coach those guys just because they're talented. You've got to make all that happen.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right. I don't want a guy that just got fired. I just don't. I don't.
That's fair.
I don't. I'm over this fucking retread shit. It's what we've done from day one of Ron's fucking tenure. I don't want to do it again. I don't want to do it.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I gotta stop letting Ron get me worked up.
Ron stays getting you worked up. Dude.
Oh God.
Keeps your blood pressure up.
Ugh.
All right. Well,
that's it, bud.
We did it.
We did it.
So For all of you guys who've tuned in, we appreciate the hell out of you.
Yes, we do.
Aaron, Robert, Senior, of course, Dave. Always good to see you. We had Hassett here in the very beginning.
Yes, sir.
Aaron, as always.
Yeah, we
I
appreciate
think I said Aaron twice. We're gonna, just double
He deserves
tap,
He
just the
deserves
double
it.
tap for my boy.
He deserves it.
We appreciate you guys tuning in. Any closing thoughts, Gary?
I'm excited about wild card divisional weekend after an exciting wild card weekend. Really good matchups. I'm excited to see if the Jags can hang with the Chiefs. I do think they're going to be able to, but really interested to see how that young core does there.
Yeah.
And then Buffalo, Cincinnati, I think has lost a little bit of the shine that might have preceded the game in earlier weeks, as Cincinnati's kind of been getting hurt, and of course the stigma that hangs over the previous meeting between these two. But I'm excited about that matchup because it's a matchup of two incredible quarterbacks, and then a couple of rivalries on the NFC side, divisional rivalry in Philly this weekend, and then Cowboys Niners takes me back to my childhood, man.
Yeah.
Aikman and Emmett versus Steve Young and Jerry Rice, and just it seemed like every year there was a big game between those two teams. So excited for that. Excited for the revival of that rivalry.
That's right. God damn it. That's right. All the live long day. All the live long day.
Guys of Texas.
You cannot get away. Well, my closing thoughts is that now that you've chosen the Bills Bengals to be the AFC Championship and the Cowboys Niners to be the NFC Championship, that's probably not going to happen. We're going to have a lot of crow to eat next week. So thanks, Gary.
Probably.
when we pick together, shit goes wrong. So you can't you can't pick my picks. So don't pick your pick. You know what I mean? Pick your own shit. You stay in your lane.
That's fair.
This is what I get for going the PG safe route, because now I'm going to ruin the PG safe route. Anyways, we appreciate you guys. Be sure to tune in next week when we break down the divisional rounds and talk about the NFC and AFC championships. Go over our picks and then get prepared to talk Super Bowl right after that. Everybody that tuned in, we appreciate you guys. For those of you guys that did not tune in live and you're watching this after the fact, be sure to check in on Tuesday evenings. We go live at 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern. We appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. Be sure to come in next week. Man, can't wait to see you there. Damn good football looking up this weekend. So from all of us here at Backyard Sports, thank you guys for tuning in to the Blitz. We'll see you next week.